Cool. Well, I guess we're going to start, huh? And then we'll just accept people along the way. Cool. Well, today we have many topics. Two new features that we launched. One that we just launched today, and the second. So the feature we launched today is now automations, and then we also launched last week the MCP app. So the goal today is to show you these two new features. And then we'll talk about a third initiative, which is the now Wall of Fame. So if you want to know what it is, you need to stay until the end. So yeah, and as always, feel free to ask some questions, give us some feedbacks. We'd love to hear what you think about the new features. Cool. Well, I'll just start by showing the now automation. Ah, hello, Christophe. Yes.
Hey, salut.
So now automation. So a lot of users have mentioned that they would want to automate agents in the background because for now is a lot about like you asking questions to the agent, and it's going to like run the whole analysis, but you still need to trigger it manually. And as soon as we often have, hello Guillaume, we often have recurring analytics. We want to set up some alerting, and we wanted to combine like agents running in the background and like doing checks automatically, but still with the intelligence of the agents being able to deep dive in different directions depending on what it's going to find. So that's what we created with now automation. So I'm going to share my screen and show you how it works. Let me just share another tab. Here it is. Okay. So the new tab that we added is the feed tab. So it's not called automations actually, because what we want to create is this kind of experience where you have kind of a news feed on your data. So you have a lot of agents running in the background, which are automation that you set up. And then every run of the agent will create a new post on your feeds of the findings that they had or alerts that they found on your data. So here, for example, I have one agent that's already run, and I can see the summary of the automation run. I can see the different charts that it has done, and it will all appear in my feeds, and the newest stuff comes first. So now, if I want to set up a new automation, I can choose my trigger. So what I wanted to do is every week, and I want to check if there are new contributors on the repository. Last week. So this is just the prompt that is going to be automatically sent to the agent. You can also like give it more information on what you want the output to look like. Maybe you want to do a specific story in a specific format every time. So you can put all the instructions here. And you can add some tools to send alerts with the automation. So either email or Slack, which means you're going to receive an email or Slack at each run of the agent. And you can add some MCP server for the agent if you wanted to have access to MCP during the run. And even some GitHub capabilities if you wanted to be able to have some rights on your GitHub repository, like creating PRs or issues, etc. So here I'm going to choose email. I'm going to accept a new person coming. Okay. So email, and then subject will be now new contributors. Let's do that. So I create my automation, and then I can see the automation when it's next run.
And just to explain, Claire doesn't need to add GitHub as a tool because our data warehouse already include our GitHub data because
yes.
like our data model is to ingest our public stuff. So that's why she didn't include the GitHub tool.
Yes. So now I'm going to just run it, see how it goes. Question?
No, someone is transcribing the call. Okay, cool.
Okay. We are recording the call anyway and put every recording on YouTube, but that's fine. So yeah, so you see underneath, like what happens is just like any conversation is same as if you were prompting the agent. It's going to go through your context, execute queries, and then when it's done with the whole analysis, it's going to use a tool to send an email or a Slack to the channel or email you provided. So this might take a bit of time.
And we decided like to put email, Slack, and we can add also like WhatsApp, Teams, and other like a messaging platform. Because when you do automation, this is the kind of stuff that you want. You want to be like alerted by the stuff that has run. But it's just an example. Like here, the possibilities are just like limitless.
So I just received my email. And yeah, so I have the full report of data that was found. So here was just like some pure analysis, but if I do some charts, for example, in the prompt, it's also going to include the charts and all the analysis. Same if you have a story, a specific format of story, it's going to send it through your email. And so yeah, the output is really flexible, which means like if, for example, your use case is to deep dive on, I don't know, like revenue variation from one week to the other, then it's going to deep dive depending on what is trending. Maybe it's going to deep dive on like churn, or another time it's going to deep dive on a specific, I don't know, like product failure. So it's going to be very flexible in terms of deep diving at every recurrence. And you can also use that as alerting. So for example, in the prompt, you can tell the agent if you find any critical, I don't know, like bug in the bug data, then send me an email. And if you don't find anything, just like don't send the email. This way you avoid like having a lot of notifications for nothing interesting. And if I go back to the feed now, you can see here in my feed, I have a notification saying that I have a new message in my feed since last time I came. And that's showing me the run of the agent that we just created. So the goal is that now you can just like every day go check your feed, check the agent runs, and just check the data and use from here. And you can keep chatting if needed.
The goal first is to create like a place where you can go and see all the stuff that has happened. So it can be like the automation, it can be the stuff that has been shared to you. So like from another analyst that shared a new story, or from a story that has been refreshed and that you have to look at. So the goal is in the feed to put some kind of the activity that is running in a project. Yeah.
Can anyone create automation, or does it require dedicated permission? For now, anyone can create automation. And we've had some feedbacks like this where maybe as an admin, you don't want anyone to create automation. So we probably will be working on like defining users' rights. So for example, for you to be able to define, okay, what are the different rights group and who belongs to which right group, and what can you do for every right group. So yeah, I think we'll solve that in a broader way in the next weeks.
And at the moment, if you don't want to deploy the automation because you are afraid of some kind that it's gonna be like a mess or whatever, I don't know, because you're not sure. There is like a variable that you can use to disable the automation globally. So there is like this variable. So if you put false, it's gonna disable the automation, all the automation stuff now.
Yeah.
But for everyone, at the moment, like you activate or deactivate it.
Yeah, and at the moment, so if you already have now deployed, just like updating to the latest version will make it available for everyone.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, so if you want to roll that back, then you need to put this variable to false. Any other questions or feedbacks or, like other things you would want to see around automations? No. Okay. Well, I think that's it for the feed and automation thing. So yeah, we're going to deep dive now on the MCP app feature. Let me change screen. Okay. So the last session of Community Hour, we showed the Now MCP. So what we showed was that through Now MCP, you can use it in any agent that basically supports MCP to ask some question in Now, to create some stories in Now as well, or just like use Now context layer and execute SQL directly from the agent. And we have added a new layer since then, which is the MCP app. And basically, the thinking is when you use like a BI MCP, let's say, in your agent, what's missing is really the UI part and the visualization part. And maybe you don't want to go to the UI specifically to see the charts and the stories. So we built an MCP app so that if you build a chart in Claude, for example, with the MCP, it's then going to appear in Claude and you can visualize easily in Claude. So let me show you an example here, just a simple question on displaying a chart of our GitHub stars with the Now MCP. And so it's going to like use Now MCP to create the query and the conversation. And then it's going to show a chart as if you were in Now UI directly in Claude. So it's a bit of a middle ground because if you use Claude, for example, like Claude can create artifacts like maybe HTML and visualization, but then you're going to lack a bit in terms of stability or stability of the UI. And by using the MCP app, it's always going to be the UI of Now, but directly within Claude. So here you can see I have a bar chart directly in my conversation with Claude, and it's interactive, so I can, like go check every value directly here. So that's just a simple chart, but that can be the same for a story. So now if I ask create a story from that, then it's going to do the same, but for a story. So this way you can create a story directly from the agent, but you can still visualize what's going to be the rendering of the story directly from your agents. So this way you don't have to do like back and forth between Claude and then the Now UI. So here I have my full Now stories. It's the same as if I was in Now, and then I can open the story now and it's going to be the exact same formatting. So yeah,
and as we saw last week, the goal with this is that you have all the governance in Now. So all the stuff that has been created here is attached here in that case. I think it's attached to a chat that you can have a look at. But even if it's just tools, all the trace of all the tools is written in Now. So everything is in the Now database. So you can have like some kind of auditability of the SQLs, the tools that have been run, and yeah, as an admin, debug and see whatever happens, even if it runs in user's Claude application. And that's like a good stuff like for enterprises. We're getting like observability on how the data is accessed.
Yeah. So yeah, if now I go on Now, when I go in Now, then I can see the story that I created in Claude. And I can open the chats corresponding to that. So as Christophe said, in the end, everything is created as if you created it directly Now. and your data team still has the observability on everything that was built. So yeah, I think the vision there behind that is to let everyone access the analytics agent from where they prefer. If they want to access from the UI or Claude or Slack, they're going to have the same experience in terms of reliability UI, and the data team is going to have the same observability on everything.
And just I remember like regarding stories.
Yes.
On the automation part, if for instance you ask an automation to create a story and you send it by email, it's gonna attach the story as a PDF. So I think like in some like organization, this is something that is like some processes have been done this way. Like you automate like something that is sent like every morning or every Monday morning, and having a PDF that is really directly attached with the analysis, with the chart, etc., is something that, yeah, I would think going to be useful to a lot of companies and a lot of data teams doing this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Any questions, feedbacks on the MCP app, or?
Just to give you like a glimpse, the MCP app, if you have the luck one day to develop stuff around MCP apps, this is not yet like something that is ready for the world to be on production.
What do you mean?
I mean like the code, like if you look at Claude Desktop and the way like it has been developed and all the embedded apps like in iframes and so on, the code and the way it's implemented is kind of ugly. It's not like only now that is ugly, it's like just the whole stuff that is built on top of MCP app is completely ugly. It's vanilla JavaScript with obscure like libraries to support it, because it's like an iframe that is embedded within an Electron app on the computer of people. And so, yeah, it's like kind of a mess, like kind of code.
It's not so reassuring, but
yeah, but that's how it is at the moment. Like if you want to support this kind of use cases, it's just
very new.
It's new, and yeah, not really in terms of code. This is not the most elegant code.
Yeah. And maybe to give you more clarity on that, so for that, the only tool that supports MCP apps are Claude Cowork, but not Claude Code, ChatGPT, but not Codex, and Cursor, and Copilot.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a bit confusing because, for example, unexpectedly, Codex and Claude Code cannot show MCP apps. So if you want to use them, you need to go to specific tools. But maybe it's going to change in the future.
But Codex behaves in a way that is friendly because it asks you to open the browser on the side, and you can like navigate in the browser. So you get like some kind of good experience.
A similar experience. Maybe before we switch to other non-product topics, do you have any other, I don't know, like feedbacks on other topics or feature requests or questions on the product before we switch to other topics?
There is something that I don't know if you've seen, but we have a screen this way, and here we have.
And we have 0 stars today.
And today we have 0 stars. So
if you haven't started,
start the repo if you haven't started the repo, so we get at least 1 star today. And in the screen we have like the open issues and the open peers. So if you open peers, you're gonna make the dashboard move on. So please open peers and do stuff in the repo.
Sami says you need a heavy client for MCP OAuth, so everything in terminal won't work. What do you mean?
Oh, okay. You need to have a client for MCP OAuth, so
why it's not working with Claude Code and Codex, but if you use Claude Code in the heavy client in Claude, you can connect MCPs, you can connect connectors.
Yeah,
you can do MCPs in Claude Code, but not MCP app. So like MCP app are MCPs that show a UI within the MCP. So for example, one of the most famous one is Booking. Like for example, in ChatGPT, if you look for hotels, it's going to open you a booking app where you can check hotels, etc. So it's different than an MCP. But there are not so many MCP apps existing for now. It's quite new. And is it possible to run automations only if something happen? So for now, the only trigger that we have on automation is a cron or schedule. So yeah, you would need to run it like, let's say, every day or add a cron and check if something has happened and prompt it so that it only sends an alert if something has happened. And maybe in the future we can add some other triggers like
Yeah, that's the goal.
webhooks or...
The goal is that we have some other triggers, or that you run the automation like on a very frequent schedule, but that there is like a stop the automation early if something is not true. Like for instance, look at issues, and if the issues are this, then, but let the agent be able to stop the automation and don't consider it like failed, but just like nil, something like this.
Yeah, you can ask questions about the configs, Renan. Feel free to speak up or send them in the chat. Mystery.
Maybe we can like, so we get 1 star.
Ah, we got 1 star. 1 sec. Okay. Who star was that?
I don't know. It will be displayed on the screen. Samox. I guess it's Sami.
Ah, thank you, Sami. That's cool. Using now and building an agent with GitHub Copilot connected to MCPs. So I think it depends on who you're targeting, Khalil, because if you are only targeting, let's say, your data team or people that are technical, then there will be comfortable to use Copilot with your warehouse MCP, because first, like, Copilot is something quite technical, so you won't put like your head of marketing on that. And also, like, your data team is going to be able to challenge the queries that were written, so you don't really need to have an agent that is really reliable. But if your goal is to have an analytics agent for your whole company, you want the UI to be friendly for everyone, and you want it to be really reliable because people won't be able to challenge what the agent says. And that's what Now provides, because the UI is easily usable by anyone. And the goal is to have the context layer that you as a data team will curate. And also you have the observability to check what people do and make sure that the agent answers are the right one. Okay. Well, maybe while we wait for Brennan question, I can talk about the next subject, the third one. Where is it? Okay. So the projects we want to start is the... Okay, that's a big question for the end. Okay. So the project we want to start is the Now Wall of Fame. So basically, we have a lot of users in the community who set up their Neo agent, who rolled it out in the company, and we want to highlight those people in our website. So we want to create a users Wall of Fame on our website. So basically, it's going to be like that. So basically, we want just like some portraits of like our Now users on our website. Just like a bit of story about you, about like why you decided to use Now, how it's used in your company in terms of metrics, in terms like how people use it, and some more questions on like how you transform your job with AI, like what's your vision with that. And so, yeah, the goal would be to have a whole page on our website with you guys' portraits, I would say, and stories. So if you think you have a great story to tell and you know really love now and want to share it to the world, like you can DM me and we will include you in this Wall of Fame. And something we would like to do as well is in the next community hour, we would like to make it a bit more like community driven, let's say. So we would like the first people of the Wall of Fame to maybe present their setup, present like how they rolled out now, like what were the different steps, what context they put in it, what was the impact, and if they have some tips for the rest of the community to set up now. So yeah, if you think you are happy with your now setup and have experience to share, like feel free to DM me, and this way you can speak in the next community hours and join our Wall of Fame. Because I'm not going to stay alone in this Wall of Fame. That would be sad. Anyone here interested by the Wall of Fame? Maybe some.
You will get some exclusive merch as well.
Yes, Christophe just spoiled it, but we are working on very, very, very edgy merch. That's going to be really cool. So yeah, if you want to have them, please DM. Maybe so one last thing before we take the last question. We have way too many events planned. So if you're in Paris, we're running the third hackathon next Wednesday. And so basically hackathon is you come to our office and we try to help you set up an agent end to end. If you already have an agent set up, we can also help you improve the context, improve the tests that you have on the agent. So yeah, just like come here, meet other data teams that work on the same subject, and we help you improve your nail setup. Next community hours in 2 weeks. And then in June, we have one meetup in New York City that's going to be held with Gorgeous team in New York, and one meetup in Berlin that Christophe is going to host. Yes. So yeah, so the goal of these two meetups is to have a panel with data teams that have set up analytics agents to compare like the tools and learnings of every team. So if you are in the cities, we are still looking for speakers in New York and maybe in Berlin too. So if you're there, like, and want to talk, you can ask me. And then end of August, we have Denise from the community who's organizing a meetup in Copenhagen, and we'll also be there. So yeah, if you are there, please join.
And also we were thinking of like doing some kind of low-key data drink. Maybe we could do like end of June before
in Paris,
before the
probably.
summer in Paris in the office. We have a rooftop, so maybe like something if some people want to hang out, just low-key thing. This is something we can do.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I guess then we can talk about config now. If I don't use AI summary in profiling, what exactly is omitted from the generated documentation? So, okay, so if you don't do any now thing, now won't have any context on your data, it's going to have to discover everything. So
yeah, but if it's just like summary and profiling that is deactivated,
yes, then you already have the schema of your table and like a description. So that's already here. And so if you omit AI summary and profiling, I would say maybe like add a bit of like voiceover of like how to use the table, like what's it for, what are the important columns and what are the main values maybe on the important columns. Maybe that's something you can generate yourself with another agent. And the recommended folder inside docs. So I think honestly the structure is not so important because most of the time what the agent will do to find information is to do grep on your file system. So basically search for some keywords. So it doesn't really matter if they are in folder or subfolders. So yeah, I guess choose the thing that is the most easily maintainable by you. And a README at the root of docs. So I think instead of maybe a README at the root of docs, what I would do is to put it directly in the rules.md file, because the rules.md file is basically a kind of system prompt for the agent. It's going to always be sent to the agent. So it's good if you can tell the agent in the rules.md where is the documentation, when it should go look for documentation, and how it's structured. This way it can go faster to the right files. Does that answer all your questions, Renan?
I tried to use AI summary, but it never works, and it's really yeah makes sense. It depends like on the table structure, and it can take a lot of time.
Yeah, maybe if you have big tables or a lot of tables.
But even like that's weird. It doesn't go. But maybe you can send us like also the errors because AI summaries just it's if you have a lot of tables, yeah, it's like a bit painful to run because it takes like every table and run like an AI summary on top. Maybe you can find a way to optimize this as well.
How many tables do you have, Renan?
Yeah, that's
a lot.
Okay. Any other question? Be like
70.
Okay. Yeah,
that's not so much, but
makes sense that it takes a few minutes, maybe like 10 minutes. I don't know. But you can deactivate AI summary, I would say. Oh no, okay. But I would say like, okay, 30, it's like a lot. Maybe we can find like an optimization, but yeah, the best is that you deactivate AI summary and you try without AI summary because I guess that you're gonna get at least already good results without it, and you can add it later, even when we find an optimization on that.
I think if you already have documentation, then AI summary is a bit less helpful because basically AI summary is just going to write some kind of documentation from the information it has, but you probably have more information. So yeah, I would say if you have documentation, that's better than AI summary.
Okay. Okay. In terms of just product, like in the next week and for the next community hour, we're gonna have like a new story page that we are working on, because at the moment you might have noticed that when you create a lot of stories,
yes,
it becomes a mess because like a lot of stories, it's not super well organized, and like we are happy. We have like finally found like a structure. You will be able to create folders to structure the stuff you want, and the page is gonna be like super beautiful, I guess. I find it super beautiful. So this is something that we're gonna release, I think, early next week. So it's gonna be like a new way like to structure the stories and see all the assets that are created by now. Yeah. So that's one thing that is coming, and then we have like two other things. The first one is like the context and the self-improvement of context. It's gonna be like the next big feature that's gonna get out. And then we have some stuff that is a bit of a surprise that you will see when it gets out.
Okay. It's a surprise then.
Yeah, we can speak about it. But
no, it's a surprise.
It's a surprise. And yeah. Also, just because it's like community hour, if there are questions, ask it or just raise your hand and we can take it. But as it's the community hour, just something I want to say. Yesterday, this is something interesting. So you know also like what we have as a process. But yesterday we had some fraudulent like person creating like a pull request to extract secret from the repo. This is like an attack that is apparently common on open source repos. So the person like created like a pull request with no description, trying to change the way the Docker file is built to steal a few tokens that we have, or secrets that we have. And actually, nothing leaked. Only like the OpenAI API key that we have, that I've read it since. But if I can show it, I can show my screen maybe. If I can take.
Yeah, you can.
Just to show you like how it was done. If I take just, do you see my screen here? Yeah, I think you see it. Right. Yeah. Just to show you what the attackers tried to do was to add this kind of line in the Docker file. So it was like reading the GitHub token and send it to an URL online where you can see like the stuff that is being extracted with a curl and a post. So he tried like to get the GitHub token. He tried to do the print env within the Docker file. He tried to get all this stuff that doesn't exist. And the last thing that it did was like to override the entry point of the Docker image to get the print env, which is like the runtime env of the preview environment that we have on the repo. But actually, in the end, the only two stuff that were a bit secret that leaked was an OpenAI API key and the GitHub client secret that we use for the preview on the repo. And that's all. And so something that we change on the repo is that we have like a file that is approved contributors that will be used for creating peers, but also when you want to have like a preview on the pull request, you will require to be in a approved contributor to get the preview. So for instance, when you have like a pull request, it automatically creates a preview environment. And to get it, you will need to be approved. So the approval is manual. So when you create like an issue, we approve you, and then you get within this file. So yeah, this is something that happens yesterday. So it seems that it was not that hard for us, but this is stuff that happens on open source repos.
Yeah. And you're going to write a blog about it.
I already published it.
Ah, you published it.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Remarks? Complaints? Okay, well, I guess we can stop there. And as I said, like, send us a DM if you want to speak up at the next community hour. That would be cool to have many people sharing their setup. So yeah, please reach out.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.